So we've got 34 counts there. We've got a little more information on what it all means. But at the heart of it is an attempt to falsify business records in first degree with intent to conceal other crimes. That's what makes this a felony, right? The attempt to conceal other crimes. Can you just simplify that for our audience here, what the other crimes are?
Yeah, so if you think about it this way, anytime you make a false entry in a business record in the state of New York, it's a misdemeanor crime. What raises it up to a felony is if when you're falsifying the record or having someone else falsify the record, you're doing it with the intent to conceal some other crime. This is charged all the time by white-collar prosecutors in New York. I must have charged this crime hundreds of times in various indictments. And if you think about it this way, if you're charging someone with embezzling money from a company or a stock fraud, every time they write a false entry in the books and records, they're making a false entry and they're doing it with the intent to cover up their other crime, right? They don't want to put down that they're stealing money in the books and records of the company they're stealing money from. So that's a very simple and straightforward application of that statute. This case is a little bit different, and it's a little bit different because unlike the typical case where we have the use in a financial fraud, here the fraud is trying to cover up something to hide what should have been declared as an election expense. It sounds like the legal theory is that, if you're spending money to impact the outcome of the election, and here it's that what Mr. Bragg referred to as the catch and kill. They're catching negative news stories and killing them, working with the National Enquirer, working with his lawyer, Michael Cohen, that would violate the campaign law. And so the false record saying this is payment for legal fees is to cover up that crime.
Okay, so
that's what makes it a felony.
Sorry, Adam. Yeah. So when they're talking about concealing another crime here, is that basically suggesting influencing an election? Is that the bigger talk here?
Yeah, that's really what Mr. Bragg is what spoke about, which is a sort of course of conduct, an ongoing campaign to influence the outcome of the election. I think, frankly, the legal theory, I think, makes sense. I think the legal theory is sound. I think it's going to be a very challenging case to prove at trial.
Yeah. Look, that was going to be my next question because, I mean, folks, their head might be spinning at the moment, but what is at the heart of this is a payment that his former personal lawyer, Trump's former personal lawyer, is a man named Michael Cohen, that he paid to Stormy Daniels' people. It's hush money before the 2016 election, about $130,000 US. Now, this was recorded, Adam, right, as a legal fee, but what Bragg is talking about is that it wasn't a legal fee. This should have been recorded as a campaign expense. That's the crux of it.
That's essentially it. I mean, I think one challenge is that, as I understand, as I recollect the facts, Mr. Cohen paid the money to Stormy Daniels, and then Mr. Trump was paying back to Mr. Cohen an inflated amount of money. And so, recording it as legal fees, that might be false. Maybe in the context of paying it to the lawyer, it's accurate. There are also payments to, I believe, Karen McDougal, who was another woman.
Playboy model, I think. Yeah.
Playboy model, right? And then pay off to a doorman, which I don't really know much about.
Yeah.
So there's a few different instances, but, I think the Trump defense team is going to be able to say, look, if there was a federal campaign violation, the federal prosecutors looked at this and they didn't bring any kind of charge. So they're the ones that should be enforcing if it's a federal campaign violation. Now, Mr. Bragg spoke about state campaign violations, and that may apply too. So there's still, I need to dig into the indictment and try to figure out a little bit more about the theories.
Yeah, I've been going through that as well, but I just feel like, I mean, let's go to you. Let's finish on this one. In your experience, can this stick? Because it feels like a stretch.
Can it stick? You know, you have to get into the evidence. But yeah, I mean, it could stick. You know, I think that the more the prosecutors can bring in proof that this was part of a bigger plan, that this was a practice, and it's not, you know, if it's individual, discrete instances of making a false entry in the business records, that's a more difficult case. One of the fights that's going to happen between the prosecutors and the defense team here is that the prosecutors are going to want to bring in a lot of contextual evidence, a lot of other facts about the campaign, about maybe Mr. Trump's conversations with other people. And the defense is going to try to narrow that down and keep out all of that external evidence and really just make it about some, you know, entries in some books and records, and who really cares? It's a private company. Mr. Trump didn't, you know, Mr. Trump will say, for the defenses could be, I didn't want my wife and child to know that I had this affair, so that I didn't do it because of the campaign. I did it because I didn't want my family to know about this relationship I had with this porn star. So that's a possible, you know, there's a lot of defenses that'll come out of trial.
We've already just had it confirmed by CNN that the next court case at this stage is December, Adam. So, I mean, is that an idea of how long this thing's going to take?
Wow, I didn't know that they adjourned it to December, really?
Yeah, December 4. At this stage, CNN is reporting at this stage that's the next appearance. So whether they're off the mark or not, but I mean, no one is of the assumption here that this is going to be a quick fix.
No, I'm sort of amazed if it's December that they would adjourn the case 6 months. I mean, typically what would happen now in a case is Mr. Trump has been arraigned on the indictment. He's pleaded not guilty. He is absolutely presumed innocent. What would happen next is the prosecution has to deliver to the defense all of the discovery material, all of the witness statements, the files, the evidence, the grand jury testimony. Everything gets turned over now to the defense. And once all of the information is turned over, then the defense would file their motions. And in this case,
to
they
throw
would
it out
file
or whatever.
Motion to dismiss, motion that it's, you know, barred by the statute of limitations.
So that's why they wouldn't have done that already.
No, they wouldn't do it until they have the discovery.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so just to confirm there, CNN reporting the next in-person hearing date for Trump's case, December 4, as of right now. Prosecutors say they intend for Stormy Daniels to be a witness in their case. So, and that's probably not going to surprise anyone. But I tell you what, Michael Cohen, when he's cross-examined, that'll be wild.
That will last for days.
Yeah.
Michael Cohen certainly brings, you know, look, many times the prosecution makes cases with damaged witnesses, right? People who have all sorts of criminal convictions. And Michael Cohen, I mean, he's been convicted of lying to Congress. Yeah, he has. He's a convicted liar.
Adam Kaufmann, really appreciate your expertise. Thanks so much for waiting around, first of all, and for having a chat to us about this case. Really appreciate it. Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.